Hello everybody, this is Spriggan Webb back here with part 7 of What If Deku Was the Red and White Dragon Emperor. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I've had a little bit of a my throat has been a little sore for a couple of days. I'll be doing some little tweaks in this. So instead of it being 10 months between him going to UA, it's a year. And it's start of March that he just goes there. In this year, he has done training with every single one of his dragons, and also he has unlocked a couple new forms and abilities. Also during it, he was tortured. Something similar to what Ken Kaneki went through in Tokyo Ghoul. Well, pretty much exactly what he went through in Tokyo Ghoul. So he also picked up the cracking of the finger, cracking his knuckles, the way that Ken Kaneki does. Um, After this, he added a chain around his wrist because I want to. Okay, let's get into the entrance exam. Also, something that I should mention: he keeps his mask around his waist, on his belt, and he's not ashamed of his scar anymore. He doesn't care about that anymore. Then what happened? Then he aces the written exam and goes on to the practical exam. So we get to the part. So the gates open and he rushes straight out with Prismatic saying, "Follow that kid." He's not worried. There's no time limit in a real battle, no countdown in a real battle. With Izuku destroying blue robots left and right. With All Might seeing this, because he hasn't seen Izuku in a while, and so he's surprised that he's actually there because he thought he was gonna miss it. Then what happens is we get to the part with the 0-pointer. He hears a screaming under the from where the 0-pointer comes out, and he rushes over. Before the foot can land on Uraraka, he holds it up, telling her to get out of there, with her then saying that she twisted her ankle. With him then pushing the robot up, grabbing Uraraka and taking her a good distance away. With him then walking up to the 0-pointer, walking towards the 0-pointer, bringing out a new gauntlet, which is this. It starts off at the fingers, with it turning from the fingers going up, and it's all this color, with it ending with the spikes coming out. And this is on both of his arms, which then he says the following enchantment: "I who shall awaken. I am the multi-dragon emperor, and I shall reach the path of domination." With him then plunging both of his arms into his chest. Something that I should mention right now. He has 11 hearts from Meliodas, 10 from Meliodas, and one from Sukuna. Actually, no, he has 12 hearts. One is his original heart, and then one's a special heart that moves around all the way around his body. And then 10 hearts from Meliodas. With everybody being absolutely terrified, with then, once he brings out his hearts, the two hearts in his hands, he crushes them with the blood from his hearts getting soaked into both of the gauntlets, with it then turning into this. With him then smashing his fists together, turning into. And he also yells Dragon Drive, which is a new form that he unlocked during the training, which I'll show you now. This is his most strongest form. This is the Multi-Dragon Emperor. He has the abilities of most dragons, and he can mimic any dragons that he's seen, or dragon-like abilities. With this being the size of the Zero Pointer. And he can also change his size, so he could be the size of a human. Then he uses the fire head over here, up here, to shoot fire at the Zero Pointer, melting it down to a pile of molten metal. Then All Might in the perspective booth. Also, something that I should mention, All Might knows about devils. Since he's the #1 hero, he has some things that he needs to know. So he knows about devils, fallen angels, all that stuff. With then, him telling Nezu with All Might telling Nezu to bring out more Zero Pointers. With Izuku destroying them, destroying them. Some with the fire one here, and with the ice one here, and some with his actual head, which that shoots out a black, purple, and red flame. And also these dragons down here on his knees, those can also shoot out fire. And him destroying all the Zero Pointers. With then him shrinking down to a normal human, and then him going out of this form, turning back into regular Izuku. With then, from out of nowhere, a villain appears on one of the building tops, with him merging all of the molten metal into one giant Zero Pointer. With this being the size of, say, 3 Zero Pointers stacked on top of each other, but with a lot of weapons. With him then charging up One for All throughout his entire body. Something that I should mention. He has... I forget what I was about to say, but so all the electric stuff goes around him. Currently, his electricity is yellow, pink, and green, which is all these flowing colors around him. Him using around, say, 1,000%, jumping up, doing Detroit Smash, and destroying the robot with one hit. Everybody being absolutely amazed, thinking they didn't know he had this much power. We get to something that I forgot to mention. With the part with Iida, Izuku's actually listening to some music. And Iida points out with that, asking why is he listening to music at a time like this when President Mike is explaining. And with him saying that he can, he only has one headphone in and listening to President Mike doing some multitasking. And saying that he's also figuring out a strategy for the practical. With Iida then shutting up, being put in his place, and with President Mike also saying that, since he also asked President Mike when he was going to mention the Zero Pointer, which and that whole thing goes. So Iida has a grudge against Deku, and then we get to the part, during the part when he does this final smash, we get to inside where all the dragons are, and Meliodas and Sukuna, where all the dragons are having this discussion, saying that if Izuku is a true wielder of the dragons, this being brought up by the multi-dragon emperor, that he should be put to a test. This test being, um, that they will erase all of his memories of devils, angels, fallen angels, and all the dragons that he has, and Sukuna and Meliodas being his reincarnations. And if he remembers them, they will stay with him. But if he doesn't remember them by the end of the year, by, say, the sports festival, since they know he's getting in. I mean, not by the sports festival. By, let's just say, until the forest training arc, but they say it's like a few months. And then they... Give me a minute. Also, something that I should mention. This meeting that they're having is, say, like, a week before it. Also, All Might has met Drake, in, like, the Vestige Realm. He met all the dragons there, because he still has a little bit of one for all, since, Izuku actually healed, the injury that All Might had. Since he used a little bit of, transfer magic to transfer some of his regeneration to All Might. And then we get to another flashback, where it's Drake possessing, Izuku's body. Which, the dragons can do that, and you can tell it's them by what his eye color is. So if his eyes change, if they're this greenish color, it's Drake. If it's a purple color, if it's this purple color, it's the purple dragon, the Death Dragon Emperor. If it's blue, it's the White Dragon Emperor. If it's, like this, if it's like a golden yellow, it's the Golden Angel Dragon Emperor. And if it's golden, it's the Golden Dragon Emperor. And so on and so forth. And, well, Drake is possessing Izuku's body. He tells All Might that they're gonna put Izuku through a test. So the only things that he will remember is him getting one for all, him doing training, and him not meeting Grius, and the whole barrage. He would still have gone to the same high school, but he would have his memories would have been replaced with, regular ones for, like, regular high school. And then what happens is All Might, accepts this, and he also, Drake tells him that he will remember that Inko lives in the old apartment. He will forget about the whole, big apartment that they got from Rias. So, yeah, that happens. Then when like, he actually does the, whole entire Detroit smash, he falls, and when he falls, that's when they start the test. With his hair turning completely green, with his hair turning completely, these colors again, since this is how it was before. And if you're wondering how he got that natural green hue again, with that back part of his hair, he bleached it. These colors away. And then his eyes went back to the regular color that they were, which was, green. And also, the Meliodas dragon mark has left him, and as well as the things underneath his eyes, which would be the extra eyeballs. And also, then after he would get up, he would be confused, like, what just happened, because his mind went a blank. And then he he notices that his eyes, his face isn't covered, so he's frantically looking around for his mask, which he finds around his waist. He puts it on, since he went back to the old Izuku, which he didn't like people seeing his scar. But the thing he does remember is saving Uraraka. But the thing about turning into the multi-dragon emperor, Dragon Drive, that was forgotten. Then we skip to the apart when he's going back to Inka's place. So currently there is well, no, he has his own apartment. And then we skip to the part where he gets the note from UA saying that he got in. When it's the day to go in, he gets there and he looks for his classroom. When he gets there, he sees Iida and Bakugo fighting, but he goes in. With then Bakugo pointing out that if it isn't the mask-wearing freak, Deku. With Izuku then flinching a bit, but then he keeps on walking to the back of the classroom. And then we get to we continue on with this with Katsuki then coming up to him and saying that he's surprised a quirkless nobody like you got in. With Izuku then saying that he's not quirkless and that he has a quirk now. With Bakugo just scoffing, saying as if. Then we get to the part where Aizawa shows up and he says they're gonna do a test. Oh, sorry. Deku thinks that he can only use 50% of One for All. So that he thinks that's his max. And then what happens is when Aizawa throws in the ball saying that he got the first place, Bakugo is like shocked since he thought he got the first place. They never mentioned like what place they got. Also, Izuku smashed All Might's record by say 500 points. With then him then going up to where he has to stand with his eyes then turning back to red and purple. With this being him getting him using some of his old powers. This being Meliodas' strength and Sukuna's strength, plus One for All with 1000%. Him throwing it, creating a sonic boom with getting sent straight out of the atmosphere. With Bakugo and everybody being shocked, with his eyes going back to normal, him wondering like what happened since his mind got drawn blank. His mind went blank again. With him then saying that, with Aizawa then saying that he just broke the school record. With him saying that it broke the meter. With it going the same as canon, with every single one of the exams, he gets his old powers takes over him, with him then dominating all of them. But with the speed one, when he goes up against Iida, it's literally like a flash instant, and then he's there. With Iida being absolutely pissed at this. Something that I should also mention. Uraraka thanks him for saving her. And after the first day, they get to know each other. And then we get to, say, like a week later. So, the hero thing hasn't happened yet. Like, the Heroes Excellent thing hasn't happened yet. Also, that will be replaced with something. So, at this point, Uraraka and Izuku have started dating. And while they're on a date, Izuku kisses Uraraka. But with Izuku seeing a flash of red right before it disappears. And then, with Izuku and Uraraka just continuing on with their day. Then we get to the hero thing, where All Might comes in and saying that they're going to be doing some hero fights. So his costume looks exactly like it does from his like Gamma costume. I'll show you. With it looking like this one, but with the green being replaced with red, the white being replaced with black, and the black being replaced with blue. And the red belt and the red part of the shoes being replaced with green, like a bright neon green. And then All Might says that they're gonna be having a few guests to help them train, with him introducing Ries's Parage without Izuku, since Izuku's there. With everybody seeing Izuku, but with Ries reminding them what happened. And also, actually, wait. So, Izuku isn't there, but this is what his costume looks like. So, he actually had to do a few errands for All Might before he could be there. So, he does them, and by the time he gets there, everybody there has been defeated. But, when he gets there and he sees how Uraka is, like, much more damaged than the rest of his classmate, he gets pissed a bit. And some of his anger from before he got his memory wiped comes out, with his eyes going pure white, with them being no pupils at all. With him then putting his hand up, with him summoning Lost Vein out of nowhere, with it just coming down from the sky, with him catching it. With then him bringing out, using his other hand to summon the Dragon Slayer, Ascalon. With then his demon curse mark appearing on his forehead, and he disappears. With him going for Kiba first, knocking him into a wall, then Zenobia, and then he takes out everybody. With everybody seeing this, and then him falling back because of exhaustion. And then he gets rushed off to Recovery Girl's office, with Recovery Girl saying that there's nothing wrong with his actual body, he's just fallen asleep. With then after that, All Might fills in Ries and the whole barrage of what actually happened, with him telling him that all the dragons wipe his memory of the dragons, the demons, the angels, which is why he doesn't remember them, and why he attacked them so ferociously. Then we get to the part where it's supposed to be the USJ day. And then also, something that I should mention. After the when Hizuki wakes up from the waking up, Uraka visits him, and also Ries, Akuno, like all of them are watching him, but they're invisible. So, and then Izuku kisses Uraka in front of them, with him not even noticing them. And then we get to the part where it's the USJ day. Well, so they have the entire day off. And this is like Izuku and Uraka's like 1 month anniversary. And yes, I am doing this. Then, so he's going out to get like her a gift. And then, so he gets her like a necklace, which is like one of those conjoined heart ones, which you can take apart and give one to one person and one to another. But when he gets back to the dorms, he asks Kirishima where Uraka is, and he said in a room. So since it is a college, they do have dorm rooms, And also, when they were moving their stuff there, Izuku got possessed by his old memories, which so he put in all his All Might posters instruments, which he didn't realize which he didn't know he had until they got there. And then there's also the book that he wrote all his songs in. Also, before this whole entire thing, before he actually he started training, he did a few voiceovers for some songs. And then we get back to where we are now, which is when he's going to Uraraka's room. And when he gets there, he hears moaning. And that also he hears her Uraraka say, "Harder, Iida." I'm getting very weirded out by saying this, but then Izuku opens the door for a little bit, and sees Uraraka fucking Iida, and vice versa. He sits there for like a solid 5 minutes, closes the door, and then this ominous shadow appears behind Izuku. And with him then going back to the dorm where the living room is, putting the thing that he had in his pocket, with then Kirishima asking what happened, with him then shrugging him off, since Kirishima put his hand on Izuku's shoulder, him shrugging him off, asking, with Kirishima saying, "What happened to What happened to you? What happened to him?" With then when he looks into Izuku's eyes, he sees pure anger and sadness. With Izuku walking off and Kirishima, after Izuku left, telling everybody that something's wrong with Izuku. With Kirishima telling that they should maybe follow him, which they do. Which when they go follow him, he's in one of the training grounds. Within him then pulling out that necklace, putting it on the ground, and starts wailing at it. Which he destroys it at, like, say, the fifth punch. And then he starts using One for All, this creating a crater. Then, when he was using One for All, his lightning went from, since his lightning turned green when he went back from his memories, and his lightning turned, with his lightning turning green to black, with them being weirded out by this. Then they see this black aura around Izuku, with then this shadowy figure coming out, saying that he should let all his anger out right now. With then he starts yelling, and his lightning turns from black to red, with it like flashing right before, and then it goes completely red. Which then Kirishima says that they should try and help him, but when they try to go near it, this barrier stops them from going near him, which he starts wailing even harder on the ground. At this point, the necklace and the box have turned into dust. And then, with Uraraka and Iida hearing this, going out to see what it is. With then when Izuku hears Iida's voice saying like what's going on, him looking up seeing Iida, with him then it looks like he's teleporting right in front of Iida's face. Him grabbing Iida by his face and throwing him into a nearby wall, which he then teleports back over to him, and in this deep demonic voice with very clearly venom in it, saying,
If you think you can get away with helping with cheating on someone, with helping someone cheat on someone, you've got the wrong idea. And if you think I'm such a nice guy all the time, I'm gonna show you my wrath by...
Sorry. With him then saying,
If you try and have sex with Uraka ever again, I will turn your nuts into a thick pinkish paste.
with this striking fear into Iida, but also making him hate with making Iida hate Izuku even more, which makes Iida hate Izuku even more. But before Izuku leaves, um um he kicks he steps on Iida's arm, breaking it, which you can hear the crunch of his bone breaking. With then All Might coming out asking what's wrong, with Kirishima filling in what happened. With All Might asking Oraka if she actually cheated on Deku, which in a stuttery voice saying yes, but trying to hide it, or in a quiet stuttery voice saying yes, well, lying through her teeth and saying no, but she did. And then Izuku walks off, going to a bar, and he tries to get drunk from like the first from his first beer, but it doesn't work. He asks for another. Then he asks for a stronger one, and then a stronger one, with the bartender asking are you okay? With him then saying that he needs another one. With then we get to when he's coming back. With All Might, right before with All Might in his Izuku's room asking what happened. With Izuku telling All Might that he went out to get Uraka a gift since it was right before the and also, so the time that they were leaving to go to the USJ was at the exact same time that they were supposed to so the time that Izuku was destroying the ground and then beats the sense out of Iida was around the time when they were supposed to go to the bus, with then Aizawa coming to see what happened with All Might filling Aizawa in. So the USJ trip got cancelled and moved to a later date. And when they went through the security footage of the USJ on that specific day, they saw that that villains showed up waiting for them. With this concocted the theory that there's a traitor in UA. And then they would know that the trip got cancelled. And also the USJ got moved to a later date. And then we get to when it's the sports festival, since the USJ is going to be moved back to after the sports festival. So, during the sports festival, Izuku he's noticed that his capacity for one for all has raised. So he can now, with his power level, he raised it to 100%, which you can now use 100%. But he thinks that it's not his max capacity, since it feels like really weak on him. And then when it was this time for the speech, it was Izuku. With him just saying that they should try their best, and that's really all. And then they get into where Midnight says that it's going to be a race, with them getting ready for the race. With then it's starting off the same with Todoroki um creating the ice wall. Something that I should also mention. Izuku now has a little bit of depression after it, and he is a little bit suicidal. But he's not gonna commit suicide, he just has suicide thoughts. And he now puts himself in much dangerous situations. And when Todoroki puts up the ice wall, Izuku just blitzes straight through it, crushing through. When doing it, he gets a stop and he crashes through 2 0 pointers straight at the same time. With the bungee cord thing, he jumps. He walks on the first one and then jumps on it, jumping to the next island, jumping on the cord, jumping to the end of it. Then we get to the part with the mines. He digs up a huge pile of them, seeing that since they're not dangerous, but they still cause a huge explosion, he's gonna keep on stocking them, make a pile of them until there's a few people in front of him. With him, once there's people in front of him, he jumps on the landmines, creating a massive explosions that sends some people that were behind him back, and some people that were in front of him forward. Then, once he's in the air, he has this this face on him that looks happy, as well as he's laughing during this. And when he comes crashing down, he gets up and runs straight towards the finish line, getting him first. Also, he knows that he has unlocked Black Whip and Float, since he met Nana and the user that has Black Whip. I know the names of the one for all quirk, like the previous possessor's quirks. I just don't know the names of the possessors. I also know the name, but I don't know the name of the first user. Which he sent with the him getting the 1 million points. He goes by himself. Him using floats with Midnight saying that he can't touch the ground, with him just using float to hover above the ground. With him then using one for all to make floats even stronger. Right when it starts, when everybody rushing at him, he disappears and takes all their headbands and flying up to the top of the ring and getting first, with them having to redo that without Izuku in it. Then we get to the 1v1s. When it's time for Izuku vs Shinso, during it, when Shinso tries to make him talk, Izuku does talk, but it doesn't affect him, since he got that transplant that got his entire body coated in a metal. And then Shinso says that why isn't his mind control working on him? With Izuku then saying that it's probably since he has metallic bones. With him then banging his arms together, creating this high frequency sound that sounds like a whistle being blown, but like much higher, and you can hear, and people can actually hear it. And then Shinso hits himself in the forehead, saying that he needs to prepare for something like this in the future in his head. But with Shinso then saying not giving up and charging at Izuku. With Izuku standing near the edge, waiting for Shinso to get real close to him speeding right behind him and then pushing Shinso out, not wanting to do much damage to him since he doesn't have a grudge against Shinso. Then we get to the fight that instead of Deku battling Todoroki for the next match, he fights Iida. Which before he went, like when he was going to his battle with Shinso, when he was going to his battle with Shinso, he went past one of the rooms that went past Iida's room. Iida's room that they get to prepare in. And he hears Uraraka and Iida having sex. Again. And then what happens is in Izuku's head he says he's gonna make him pay for that. And then we get to when it's the Iida vs Izuku fight. And then, right before the match starts, Izuku reminds him that, remember what he said when he broke his, arm? That if he ever has sex with Uraraka again, he's gonna turn his nads into a thick pinkish paste? With, Iida, recognizing realizing what Izuku's gonna do to him. And with the round beginning, with Izuku saying that he's gonna give him 2 hits, and then he'll fight. Well, he'll give Iida 2 hits, and then he'll, Izuku will actually take this seriously. With Iida first going for his head. You can actually hear, the cracking of his head getting popped out of place. People think he's dead, but then his arms crack it right back into place. And then everybody's absolutely terrified, including Iida. With then Izuku saying that he has one more shot. With Iida going for his arm, dislocating it. With Iida getting back, with Izuku then popping that right back into place. With Izuku then saying that tickled. And with then he's saying, "Time's up." With Izuku then disappearing and grabbing Iida by his head, crashing him into the ground. With Izuku then going to the center of the stadium, using Black Whip to grab Iida by his leg and repetitively knocks Iida into the ground. During this, he gets 3 fractured ribs. And it broke his kneecap. Well, one of his kneecaps. And it broke one of the joints in his arm. With then Izuku then using one throw to kick Iida into the air, with him then summoning with him then summoning Black Whip to pull Iida down into the ground as hard as he can. With then he uses Iida like a yo-yo and flings him around everywhere. With every time he brings him in, he punches him. With then it ending with Iida on the ground. With Izuku picking him up by his hand, and with his other hand crashing it into his hand. Everybody hearing his bones break. Him doing the same thing with his arm, then his legs, both of his legs. With Izuku saying, "Do you yield?" And with Iida being all snarky, saying, "What about turning my nads into a thick pinkish paste?" With Izuku then saying, "Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me." With him then doing an axe kick on Iida's dick. With then when Iida hears that he reminded Izuku, he thinks, "Oh shit." With then um him that being the end of that fight. Then we get to the final round, well, the next round, where it's Bakugo vs Todoroki. um Todoroki, I mean Bakugo vs Todoroki. Bakugo wins, but he actually took it serious and uses his fire. With before the fight, Izuku comes up to Todoroki and says, how he keeps on saying that his fire side is his father's side, his father's quirk. But with Izuku then saying that unless your father controls your body, it's not his quirk. Then after that, with it being the final round versus Bakugo versus Deku. With Izuku at this round, he takes off his mask, actually showing his face. With Katsuki, he actually hasn't seen Izuku's face since the accident that he got in, where he got his burn and he got all the scars. Since he kept on wearing a mask after that. And before the fight starts, Katsuki says, like, "What happened to your face?" With Izuku saying, "It's your fault what happened to me, actually." With him then telling the whole story, like, after a time that when you were bullying me as a kid, I ran into a forest, if you don't remember. Then after that, I ran into a steam vent, which burnt half of my face. Something that I should mention, Todoroki is a girl. And yes, I am doing this. Todoroki is a girl. And yeah. Then he keeps on going with the story, saying that right after half of my face got burnt by the steam vent, a pack of wolves mauled me and gave me all these scars. And then the fight begins, with Izuku then teleporting behind Bakugo, punching his head into the ground, with Izuku letting him get up, with Izuku then using Black Whip to do what he did with Iida, banging him into the ground repetitively. And then he uses one throw to kick him out of the ring, with Izuku being declared the winner. Then we do a time skip, say a week after the sports festival, with Aizawa saying that they're gonna be tomorrow that they're gonna be going to the USJ. But since there was going to be a villain attack last time that we went, we're gonna have some extra protection. With Aizawa inviting Rias and the Parasian. And then everybody is fine with this, and then we get to the part where it's the USJ. On the bus right there, everybody's talking about their quirks. Then we get to the part where Asui brings up how Izuku's quirk is like All Might. And like what happened in the entrance exam with you turning into a giant dragon. With Izuku saying, "I did what?" with asking, are you sure it was me? With then them always with Oraka saying yeah, well, like nodding her head. Iida as well, and Iida has recovered in this time. Um, and also, Ingenium was attacked, but he he was healed. Izuku healed him since Izuku has respect for Ingenium, but not Iida. And then we get to the part where they're going into the USJ. Rias and the Parage are there. And then, after a bit with 13 explaining what's gonna happen, the villains show up with Kirishima saying they even, are asking Aizawa if they're fake villains. With Aizawa then saying for them to get out of here, but with Rias, and the whole Parage saying to go get them. Something that I should also mention. When they met Gasper, they asked if he was a girl, but with him then saying, Mineta and Kaminari asked if she was a girl, if he was a girl, with him breaking their spirits, saying that he's a guy, and then. But then Kurogiri stops their path from getting out. And they all get split up, but Izuku stays there, getting replaced with everybody going the same place that they did in canon. But instead of Izuku being with Mineta and Sue, he's with the whole Kirishima gets swapped out with Izuku. No, not Kirishima. Sugar Guy gets swapped out with Izuku, goes there. And then when they start fighting, and this time there is 10 Nomu. And then one of the Nomu attacks Rias, and one attacks Akino. The rest, one of the Nomu attacks all the Parage. With then Izuku getting like a pain in his head, getting this massive headache, with then his eyes turning his purple and red. With the Nomu about to hit the Parage again, with another quirk, with a fire quirk that it has, since they're all different Nomu. And at this point, Izuku's regained all his most of his memories, like the memories about meeting Rias, Akino, and all them. And he remembers all the dragons that he has. With his eyes going wide, with his hair turning back to this, with then him, rushing right towards them, when he was rushing down, summoning his dragon and his hellhound. I forgot their names. I'm pretty sure it's Blaze and Pyro. I forgot which one I named them. And with him then putting his hands on their heads, with them then merging into one. This is a skill that he learnt during his training. Merge. He can merge things into combined. When they all merged into one, with them turning into this. This is their fused form. This is a dragon werewolf human hybrid. With right before the Nomu is about to punch, right before he's about to punch Rias, Izuku comes in, grabbing the Nomi by his head, throwing him away from them. With him then asking if they're okay. And that he remembers everything now. Well, most of it now. Then, he rushes at the Nomu again, being blinded by being absolutely pissed, grabbing it by the head, using his tail to cut its head off, and he realizes that it has a regeneration, so he uses his hand to grip and down the part that's regenerating, down his neck, he puts his hand down it, going for his heart, ripping it out, and then crushing it, stopping the Nomi from regenerating. With all the villains being shocked of how brutal he's being. With then Izuku then kills all the other Nomus. Besides one which he severely injures, which that one doesn't have regeneration. He fights them all, but when it also, in this Shigaraki is a girl, and Darby is also a girl. So it's ten, just a female version of Shigaraki. And but with everybody else being the same. Stain is a guy, Toga's a girl, Spinner's a guy, Muscular's a guy, like all of them, they're the same. With then, Shigaraki telling, Kirigiri to get, them out of there. We'll get her out of there, and lead the villains, to die or something. With then, right before, she can get away, Izuku, flies towards her with his wings, getting a little scratch on his finger, getting some of her blood, seeing it, and then he uses the Blood Dragon Emperor to encase it in a small bit of glass. Well, really just makes it the blood solid, which he then uses some levitation and hovers it above the ground, with then him then destroying the other villains. With by the time that he's finished with all the villains, this is when all the heroes show up. With him then turning back into this. Which then after he does that, he gets a bleeding headache again. With him then with the police taking the villains away, and then we get to the part where it's a talk with Izuku and the Parage, with them asking if he really remembers them. With him then right as they're saying that, he gets a bleeding headache, which he then gets on his knee, he gets on one knee, with him holding his head. And then he gets up and says he remembers everything, every single thing that's happened with them, saying how both Rias and Akuno have both tried to screw him twice. I think it's twice. And with him saying that he remembers how he saved Arcia from Rainier, how he gave Gasper the mask, how Kiba is a survivor of the Holy Sword Project, and how he knows his sister. If you guys forgot, Izuki does have a sister in this, which she died in the Holy Sword Project. yeah. And then we get to when they're going to the dorms with um Izuku asking All Might if he could ask Nezu to make his room bigger so he can get a bigger bed. And ask if he can get some dorms for Kiba and and Gasper. Um and also or like actually for instead of that he said Izuku says that he's gonna move out of the dorms and um build a house near near the dorms, like next to the dorms. Like this is like say 2-story mansion that has 5 bedrooms altogether. But one master bedroom which is for um like all the girls and Izuku to have. With after that him going back to the lifestyle that he was used to, like waking up with all the girls with him and him and Kiba sparring like um after school. So they actually Kiba Ria, like the whole Parage actually moved into, well, Wet goes to class 1A now. Well, not they they created a club explicitly like called the Occult Research Club, which is for them. With All Might realizing what this is for, and him telling Nezu, since Nezu also knows about it, also knows about devils, angels, and all that stuff. Oh, this is an hour now. Yeah, so that's really pretty much it. So next time I'll be getting into the interships. I think it's the interships, but yeah, with that. And also, Todoroki, is starting to become a close friend with Izuku. Also, Rafista is a teacher there, and Azazel is the club manager. Um. Also, people that have been getting close to Izuku are Momo. Um. Well, really, Momo and Todoroki. Something that I should mention before. Well, before Uraka cheated on Izuku with Iida. Iida was dating Momo. So she was heartbroken with that realization. And so she started getting an affection for Izuku. Same with Shoka, which is the female name for, well, a female name for Todoroki. And yeah, that's it for now. I just covered all season 1 and like half of season 2. So the next time I'll be finishing off season 2 and maybe starting season 3, which will most likely be, yeah. So goodbye, and hopefully you have a good day.